Hi guys, welcome back to my December plan with me. Super sorry for uploading late this month. I actually fell sick and couldn't upload following the usual schedule. But I'm back and here's my December plan with me. For this month, I decided to go for this Greek theme that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. It's very heavily inspired by my drama performance this year in school. Basically, what I'll be doing is I'll be compiling different themes that to me represent the Greek mythology and use them for my bullet journal. So I decided to follow the format that I used for August, which is a very simple format: title, date, events, and a to-do list. I did a very simple calligraphy using a black felt marker to do the headers. And since this month will have a lot of different themes incorporated because Greek mythology has various themes, I decided to go for a very simple color, gold, as the secondary color for the part of the entire bullet journal theme. Especially since I don't use gold much and I only use it usually for the headers, I decided that it would be quite a nice touch to the entire theme, especially for Greek mythology. Then I decided to try to go for a different font for writing my numbers this month, making them bold and somewhat printed like. I'm not sure how to explain what kind of font this is, but I did enjoy drawing the fonts. It was very fun, but it was very time consuming. I also decided to drop some shadows for the back of the letters, so to make it more pronounced. I decided to fill up the space with more gold lettering, like adding the year and drawing some doodles. A reoccurring theme would be me using the gold marker to drop a shadow behind all the headers. I then decided to write a quote that says, "When the roots are deep, there's no reason to fear the wind." Next, I started my mood tracker. Next, I just used the same calligraphy method as I did for the first page and wrote the headers in. As you can see, I initially wanted to heavily reference a mood tracker that I found online, but decided against it since it doesn't really follow the Greek mythology theme. Then I decided that, hey, there's such thing as like crown laurels that they use in the Greek mythology, and decided to use it as a mood tracker instead. So what I simply did was to just track 15 days on one side and 16 days on the other side for my mood tracker, as you can see in the video. Then I did some final touch-ups here and there before I start outlining and collaging. I then used a very thick marker to outline the number of days of my mood tracker. And then I used a thinner pen to do some additional details to the mood tracker to make it look more like the crown laurels that they use. Then I paste down a picture for my usual collaging. It also similarly shows a laurel. And then I start making the key for my mood tracker. I decided this month, instead of doing a pattern to represent a mood, I decided to do a coloring technique instead. But I had kind of lack of colors of the shade yellow, so I decided to mix a few colors like black and greys in, which wasn't really pretty, but what can I do? Then I wrote a quote that says there's beauty in simplicity. And finally outlined all my titles with gold. Next, I did my habit tracker. Similarly, I did calligraphy for the title, and then I started planning my habit trackers. I decided to use the calendar format I did the previous month to do my habit trackers again. The next parts of the video will be me just planning how I want my tracker to look like. I divided the space into 6 different spaces for my tracker, and then wrote the titles on top of the tracker. As you can see, I'm drawing the calendar right now, the shape of the calendar. Then I did some planning and decided that I wanted these 2 pictures for my collage on the page. Next, I wrote the title of my habit trackers. Since my A-levels are ending this month, I decided to do new habits instead. I always wanted to learn a new language and wanted to do things that I never really get to track during my A-level period because I had to study. So now I have more freedom to track new habits that I've always wanted to try. Instead of drawing a grid for the calendar, I decided to just write the numbers in to try a new habit tracker format. So how the tracker works is, whenever I finish a habit in that day, I'll use a gold marker to color in the number to indicate that it's completed on that day itself. So that's how I'm going to track my habits. Then I finally decided to do some decorating for the page itself. And then finally outline my titles with gold. I decided to do more decorating by adding more laurels around the titles to give it more pretty effect. I just wish the marker was a bit thinner because some of the laurels came out really fat and it was really weird to see it. Next, I decided to start doing my weekly planner. Similar to my August spread, I used a brown post-it to do my to-do list for the month, and then I started planning and allocating the calendar that I wanted at the side of the page. Then I wrote in gold the highlights of the calendar that I want to take note for the week. Then I wrote my next week column, did a small plant floral at the side of the December and then wrote my to-do list title. I decided to get a bit fancy for my to-do list to represent the Greek mythology a bit more. Hence I doodled some plants. Next, I wrote the day of the week using a marker and used a gold highlighter to highlight that that's the day of the week. Then I wrote using the same marker the date of the week. So for my weekly planner, I decided to use my August format and fill it up day by day. So for every week, I decided to do a different theme that represents Greek mythology for each different week of December. For the first week, I decided to do a Percy Jackson theme with all the blues that Percy Jackson likes and Poseidon, basically. My drama performance had a water theme this month, so I guess also it's kind of represented by the water theme of my drama performance this year. For the next week, I decided to go for a green theme, basically represented by the nature of Greek mythology. This theme is represented by the nature side of Greek mythology, forest, fighting, hunting, anything related to nature. My drama performance also used a lot of green stuff to represent nature. For this week's theme, I decided to go a darker theme, representing the underworld of Greek mythology. I also started getting into this webtoon named Lore Olympus, where it talks about the perspective of Persephone and Hades. Inspired me a lot for this week's theme because, well, I guess I'm always intrigued by their relationship. I guess in a way it also represents the darker side of Greek mythology, which can be seen in my collaging. And fun fact, I actually acted as Persephone for my drama performance this year. So yeah, I guess it was a huge inspiration for me. Next, since Greek mythology has a darker side, there's always a lighter side. So hence, I decided to go for the lighter theme for this week. So I used a lot of white colored theme pictures like snow, temples, anything that has a white color tone base in the back. So for this week, I decided to do the richer side of Greek mythology by using pictures that represent the gold, the luxury, the discovery and inventions of the Greek mythology. As you can see, I used a lot of gold/brown color pictures to represent the luxuries of Greek mythology. So here's the completed weekly planner. So now it's washi taping time. I started finding this joy in using washi tape, especially since I have a lot accumulated over the years, but I never got to use them. So I decided to use them now, especially since this month's theme has a lot of different individual sub-themes. I decided to use a purple one for my habit tracker, and then I used a blue color one for my first week of December planner. Then I didn't really have a green color tape, but I found this feather-like tape which was kind of similar to the theme, so I just used it. Then for the third week, I got this black color tape that has a lot of like pretty dark messages like the end, 再见, things that says like goodbye. And since in the fourth week it's going to be close to Christmas, I decided to use a Christmas tape, especially since it's white. Lastly, for the last week of December, I decided to use this butterfly theme washi tape since I did use a lot of feather pictures for the last week. And here's my completed bullet journal for this month. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for supporting me throughout this entire year. It has been a great year. I hope to make more good content for you guys, and yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great December.